Manny Pacquiao is said to have completely shaken up the situation surrounding Floyd Mayweather after taking control of his former gym in the heart of Hollywood. Since then, rumors claim that Pacquiao has also released exclusive footage and materials about Mayweather along with information related to his financial situation, triggering a massive wave of reactions and controversy. A chain of revelations that, according to the internet, could have a major impact on Mayweather's image and career. Manny Pacquiao paused for a picture outside his newly acquired gym in Hollywood, a facility formerly owned by rival Floyd Mayweather Jr. He didn't say a word at first. He let the setting speak before he said anything. Inside a boxing gym once tied to Floyd Mayweather Jr. in the heart of Hollywood, Pacquiao walked past a partially finished ring, pointing toward future placements for heavy bags and glancing at a larger-than-life image of his rival that will soon be taken down. The space, which is set to open this summer, already carries its new identity, Pacquiao Prime Boxing. Think about that for a moment. The same walls that once bore Floyd Mayweather's name and image now belong to Manny Pacquiao. The signage has changed. The branding has changed, and while standing in front of Mayweather's image, one that will soon be replaced, Pacquiao described a new direction for the space. This is the Hollywood Gym, the one on Highland Avenue, the same facility that was under fire as employees of Mayweather Boxing and Fitness gathered outside in protest, making numerous allegations against the company, which mostly involved unpaid wages. The same gym where employees staged a walkout in protest after claiming they hadn't been paid for weeks. The demonstration took place outside the Highland Avenue facility, drawing attention to alleged financial neglect and potential closure of the gym. Staff members didn't hold back. One sign labeled the situation as modern-day slavery, while another took a jab at the famed boxer brand, reading, "The team has no." The employees alleged that the gym was going to close. They claimed that the location was being shut down because the rent hadn't been paid, and that same location belongs to Pacquiao. The timing adds another layer. Pacquiao and Mayweather are set to meet again at the Sphere in Las Vegas, a rematch more than a decade after their record-setting bout. So, the man Mayweather is supposed to fight is now literally occupying the space Mayweather lost. He's training where Floyd's name used to be. He's replacing Floyd's pictures with his own, and he's doing all of it with a smile. Pacquiao's camp didn't hold back. Matter even called Mayweather a chicken, while Manny himself mocked the situation by making clucking sounds and flapping his arms. This wasn't subtle. This was Pacquiao dancing in the ashes of what Mayweather built and doing it in broad daylight. And to understand why this particular moment carries the weight that it does, you have to understand what led to Mayweather's gym collapsing in the first place. Floyd Mayweather earned more money in boxing than almost anyone in the history of professional sports. He generated more than $1 billion of revenue during his Hall of Fame career and became infamous for flaunting his wealth. His nickname wasn't accidental. Money Mayweather was a character he inhabited with full commitment. Private jets, luxury cars, bricks of cash on Instagram, $100 bills tossed around like confetti in nightclubs. That was his brand. That was the promise. Hat was the identity he sold to the world. But behind the curtain, cracks had been forming for years. Financially speaking, it has been an awkward period for Floyd Money Mayweather. Since the beginning of the year, the boxing legend's post-retirement finances have been placed under a massive public microscope. The saga began when a lengthy Business Insider investigation alleged that Mayweather was heavily leveraged, taking out high-tier interest loans against his real estate, facing foreclosures and dealing with a growing list of unpaid bills. Mayweather forcefully denied the claims and is actively suing the publication and one of its reporters for defamation. Then came the lawsuit that raised even more eyebrows. Floyd went on the offensive, filing an explosive $340 million lawsuit against Showtime networks. In that complaint, Mayweather alleged he wasn't experiencing financial strain due to his own spending, but rather because hundreds of millions of dollars from his career earnings had been secretly diverted into third-party accounts by his former manager, Al Heyman. Let that sink in. The man worth allegedly hundreds of millions is now claiming that a massive chunk of his career earnings went missing. Mayweather fought 8 pay-per-view events under the Showtime banner, generating an estimated 15 million buys and more than $1 billion in revenue. And now he's saying he never saw the proper share of those earnings. But the financial avalanche didn't stop there. Mayweather faces financial and legal issues on the regular, including a $3 million debt to a Nigerian media company, foreclosure risks on 2 properties, and potential loss of his girl collection strip club due to unpaid taxes. Courts allowed his attorneys to pursue his car collection, including a Bugatti Veyron, to settle debts. He also reportedly secured a $54 million loan with 9% interest using his assets as collateral. And then came the jewelry lawsuits. In Miami, AJ's Jewelry filed a lawsuit claiming Mayweather walked away with over $1.3 million in luxury watches and chains without paying the full bill, alleging that several checks he wrote actually bounced. This is on top of a separate federal case where another jeweler is seeking $4 million. Even his living arrangements have faced scrutiny, with legal claims alleging he owes over $330,000 in unpaid rent for a Manhattan interest loans against his real estate, facing foreclosures and dealing with a growing list of unpaid bills. Mayweather forcefully denied the claims and is actively suing the publication and one of its reporters for defamation. Then came the lawsuit that raised even more eyebrows. Floyd went on the offensive, filing an explosive $340 million lawsuit against Showtime networks. In that complaint, Mayweather alleged he wasn't experiencing financial strain due to his own spending, but rather because hundreds of millions of dollars from his career earnings had been secretly diverted into third-party accounts by his former manager, Al Heyman. Let that sink in. The man worth allegedly hundreds of millions is now claiming that a massive chunk of his career earnings went missing. Mayweather fought 8 pay-per-view events under the Showtime banner, generating an estimated 15 million buys and more than $1 billion in revenue. And now he's saying he never saw the proper share of those earnings. But the financial avalanche didn't stop there. Mayweather faces financial and legal issues on the regular, including a $3 million debt to a Nigerian media company, foreclosure risks on 2 properties, and potential loss of his girl collection strip club due to unpaid taxes. Courts allowed his attorneys to pursue his car collection, including a Bugatti Veyron, to settle debts. He also reportedly secured a $54 million loan with 9% interest using his assets as collateral. And then came the jewelry lawsuits. In Miami, AJ's Jewelry filed a lawsuit claiming Mayweather walked away with over $1.3 million in luxury watches and chains without paying the full bill, alleging that several checks he wrote actually bounced. This is on top of a separate federal case where another jeweler is seeking $4 million. Even his living arrangements have faced scrutiny, with legal claims alleging he owes over $330,000 in unpaid rent for a Manhattan penthouse, bounced checks from a man called Money, unpaid rent from a man who once made $5 million a minute. That contrast is staggering. The image and the reality don't match anymore, and the public has started to notice. If there's one institution that Floyd Mayweather has been unable to dodge throughout his career, it's the Internal Revenue Service. And they came back for more. A lien, which became public knowledge after being widely reported, covers unpaid federal taxes. The total balance owed, $7.30 million. $7.3 million might sound like pocket change for a man who once earned $240 million from a single fight. But what's revealing is not the dollar amount, it's the pattern. After his massive payday against Manny Pacquiao, the IRS filed a lien for unpaid taxes. Mayweather argued his wealth was illiquid and eventually paid using his Conor McGregor fight purse. That was a $22 million lien. He couldn't pay it until he fought again. Over the years, Mayweather faced liens totaling tens of millions. He typically paid only after liens were filed. A common thread throughout. Mayweather's team frequently cites illiquid assets, real estate, investments, luxury items. Despite his enormous earnings, he often requests payment extensions until a liquidity event, usually a major fight purse, arrives. This is the cycle. Make an enormous sum of money. Spend it or tie it up in assets. Get hit with a tax bill. Claim you don't have the cash. Fight again. Use the new purse to pay the old debt. And it appears to be happening again. The financial problems have forced Mayweather to stay busy in the boxing ring. Even after his final professional fight, a TKO over Conor McGregor, Mayweather faced Tenshin Nasukawa and Logan Paul in big money exhibition bouts. 6 other exhibition matches involving Mayweather have taken place, including fights with YouTuber Deji and MMA journeyman John Gotti III. So when people see Mayweather at age 49 scheduling multiple fights in a single year, exhibitions against kickboxers, former heavyweight champions, and now a rematch with Pacquiao, the question that hangs over everything is why. These drawbacks appear to be the driving force behind Mayweather's recent push to return to the ring for high-stakes paydays. Even his former opponents are speaking up. Logan Paul stated on a podcast, "No, I didn't make as much money as you'd think fighting Floyd. He still owes me $1.5 million, maybe more. He pre-sold the fight using my likeness to some company in, I think, Dubai or like the Middle East. This is my understanding of it, for $10 million cash." Today, celebrity net worth estimates Mayweather's net worth at $100 million, but notes it's very hard to feel confident about that number. With all the lawsuits, liens, and allegations, Floyd also continues to project a billionaire's lifestyle, regularly posting photos of himself on private jets surrounded by bricks of cash. At the very least, he may have a liquid cash flow situation. And if that's true, it explains why he is suddenly stepping back into the ring after his official retirement. Against this backdrop of financial turmoil, the Pacquiao rematch should be the biggest payday on Mayweather's calendar. Mayweather and Pacquiao will meet in a professional rematch at the Sphere in Las Vegas. Streamed live globally on Netflix at no additional cost to subscribers. It will be the first professional boxing match ever held at the $2.3 billion venue, but there's a massive wrinkle that's threatening to upend the entire event. In recent days, attention around the fight has centered on how it will be presented, with Mayweather describing it as an exhibition, while Pacquiao points to the terms he agreed to. This is not a minor detail. The difference between a professional fight and an exhibition is enormous in terms of record, in terms of scoring, in terms of the physical reality of what happens inside the ring. And Pacquiao's camp says they have the receipts. Sean Matter, CEO of Manny Pacquiao Promotions and a producer on the event, said the bout is anchored by multiple signed agreements and that those terms remain clear. Not 1, not 2, but 3 different agreements. Matter said he signed all of them. According to Matter, those agreements outline a professional fight, not an exhibition, and include financial commitments already in motion. And here's where it gets even more revealing. He took an advance on his purse. Matter said, everything is black and white. Matter described the situation as a breach of contract, pointing to public comments that differ from the signed terms. Matter responded by saying that Mayweather already accepted cash advances for the rematch and is in breach of his fight contract. Mayweather has also taken a significant loan on the deal according to Matter. So according to Pacquiao's team, Mayweather signed contracts for a professional fight, took money up front, and is now trying to reclassify the bout as an exhibition. Presumably because a loss in a real sanctioned professional fight would put a blemish on his perfect 50-0 record. But Pacquiao isn't having it. "What we signed is a real fight," Pacquiao said. "I know that he knows what he signed. We signed both and I hope he honors it. There are consequences that come with that," Matter said. "And those consequences aren't just verbal. The matter is now being handled through legal channels as both sides work toward a resolution." Meanwhile, Mayweather has broader questions surrounding his plans, including previously reported bouts with former heavyweight champion Mike Tyson and against kickboxer Mike Zambides, which could complicate the agreement. He has officially announced an exhibition bout against kickboxing legend Mike Zambides set for Athens, Greece. Just one piece of a packed schedule. The man once had the leverage to make the world wait half a decade for a fight. Now he's the one scrambling, booking multiple events, taking advances, juggling.